Phil Harrison, who's the vice president and general manager of Stadia. Was he a Xbox person? I feel like I know that name from somewhere. He was at Sony during the PS3. He then moved to Microsoft for the launch of the Xbox One, and then moved to Google for Stadia.
Oh my god, if he would have been in like the Wii U, that would have been like a triple whammy of tragedy.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts today, Ethan, and joining me, as always, are my good friends, Hunter and Kyle. Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hello, hello.
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
Oh, I
As you
missed
can see,
that.
Hunter has made it out of traffic. He's safe and back. His car didn't flip over this time.
I missed that, dude. I missed that.
Although
It's
you
like,
wouldn't be
well,
able to tell that I was at the beach at all. Though.
No, you've got Casper syndrome
still-
like me. Yeah.
I'm still deathly pale. I was
Yeah.
sunburnt last week, or like at the end of last weekend. Still, like my face was peeling. It was super annoying because I was gonna shave, but I still had like skin peeling off, and I didn't want to.
I think what people, I think what people don't realize is I boost the warmness on my webcam for the sole purpose of it to make me look like I'm slightly alive. Like if I turn this down back to what normal levels are, God, I look like a corpse. So it's like that's not gonna happen. But no, welcome
One
back.
time at work, my coworker was like, "You look so pale. Are you okay?" I'm like, "I always look pale. What are you talking about?" Like
That's what everybody
because-
says to me. They're always like, "Are you ill?" Or it's like that. It's either that or, "Gosh, you look way younger than you're supposed to be." I'm like, "God damn it! If I hear that one more time, I've been hearing that since I was 12, bro." And it's like, what the hell? When's it gonna stop? I get it. I don't look like I'm 25. Please stop. Make
Honestly,
it end.
I'm surprised I don't get that more at work. The most I've gotten was that someone told me I look like Vsauce.
I don't know if that's a compliment, to be honest. Like, I feel
I
like
don't
I feel
either.
like you should be
I
like
mean, Vsauce seems like a cool dude, so I'll take it. But
I mean, I feel like if I shave, and also I've done a terrible job because I haven't shaved. I feel like a hobo. But it's like if I shave, I feel like I'd look even younger, which is what I'm scared of.
Mhm.
Which I don't know. Maybe you'll see that soon. I don't know. Halloween's coming up, isn't it? And you horrible people on Twitter voted poorly. So I'm like, am I gonna fully commit to the bit this time? Who knows?
that'd be fun.
Yeah, the reason I
And
took
then
the
you-
wig off last time was because it looked weird because it was like I had a beard and everything. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. It's weird. Maybe I just go all in this time. Shave everything. Shave my actual hair off. Dye it. Grow it out real quick. It's only 30 days, right? Easy.
If you just shave, you'll have an easy costume, though. Like, I know they said voted for you to dress as a woman again, but
I regret it.
otherwise, you could have just shaved, and then you'd be the Pokemon protagonist for this gen.
True. Oh, god damn it. That would have been so easy and so much cheaper. I don't think people realize how much that Twitter poll fucking cost me. It cost me so much money. And it might not even get here. You know what it was like last time? It might not even get here, and it cost me so much money. I'm so terrified because nothing's here yet, and it's been ordered for like 3 weeks. So I'm like, oh my god.
Oh no.
it's okay, dude. October just started.
Yeah, right. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, it's that, my wallet's just dying. Xenoblade Special Edition still non-existent, still not here. I've now started hoarding amiibos again. Nintendo re-released them out the Disney Vault. Look at this shit, bro. Look at this shit. You want amiibos, bro? I got amiibos. Which amiibos do you want? Do you want these amiibos? Oh, you didn't see these ones, did you? These came today.
Oh, nice.
And do you know what? This is actually a funny story because I feel like I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I've told you guys about the big amiibo heist in the UK that one time during Splatoon 1. I've at least told you guys the story. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but when
Didn't they
Splatoon
get
1
stolen from like the truck or something?
yeah, basically all the special editions of Splatoon 1 with the Squid amiibo got stolen in the UK, and they never found the culprit, by the way. They never fucking found this person.
my God.
They got away with
Jack
it.
the Ripper.
So I never got my amiibo, and finally, after 7 years, the story's over, boys. I opened him to match the others. I have the green squid. It's been 7 years.
Congrats, buddy.
Yeah. So now he can sit up here with the... Oh, no, the other two are fully up there, but he can sit over there, and he can big chill. So that's cool. And then I have the other 3 amiibo comics. I was like, I'll just get the whole set. Why not? It's a problem. It's a
Yeah.
problem. Good news is, though, they can stay in the box. I was mentioning it to you, but PSA for anybody who likes Amiibo now, they got rid of the tinfoil at the bottom of the box because they realised that no one's returning them once they buy them, because who's returning them when you can sell them for a profit? So they're just like, you can just scan them from the box now, which is great. Which means my Amiibo can sit in their prisons forever, or at least until I get bored and open them, because I can guarantee I tried that once and I just opened them in the end because I got really bored of the packaging. Anyway,
Dude,
if you can't
packaging just
tell,
takes up so much space all the time.
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
I think the good thing now is I have like obviously I have these shelves and I have the bit on the top of the shelves that I use as a kind of a bit of, I don't want to mess with the webcam because then it lags, but you guys have seen it before where I have like all the boxes, like the special editions and stuff up there.
Yeah.
So they can sit on top of them. They're quite good now. They're reasonable now. I opened the squid because he's not worth too much more anyway. And also I just wanted him because the other two are loose. And I'll probably open the Splatoon 2 ones, because why not? I'll keep, basically, if they're in these dual packs, I'll keep them because they're usually worth a lot of money. Like, I was looking up, that Callie and Marie one is worth a lot of money. So I'm like, usually I'm like, who cares? But when it's like, I was looking, like, Callie goes on her own for like 70 quid and I paid 20 for the both of them. I'm like, oof.
Oh, yeah.
That's
man.
really expensive. Keep them in the box for now. But no, if you can't tell by the, I don't know, we're already going off on a fucking tangent
Stalling.
already. Yeah, all the stalling. It's a very quiet week this week. Nothing's happened in the world of games. You all showed up last week for your Genshin, or the week before for Xenoblade 3. So, I don't know, show up for the vibes, I guess, this week, because, I don't know, we've got nothing. Stadia died. We can talk about that. So we got
Nothing
that.
of value was lost.
Yeah, ironically, the only time we've mentioned Stadia properly on this podcast was when I talked about my impressions of the Fenyx Rising demo, which was exclusive to Stadia at first. And ironically, the week Stadia died was the week I finally actually played the real thing of that game, so we can talk about that. Everything coming full circle, and Hunter's played a bunch of indie games. And I played one because the trophies were easy, but I ended up liking the game, so win-win. So we'll talk about all of those as we go. So yeah, HGO podcast, obviously, every week, Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK time on podcast services, slightly later on youtube.com/Hot Gamers Only. You can come and hang out with us every week as we talk about the world of gaming. This month is busy-ish, but it's all towards the later half of the month, really. We have Overwatch 2 next week, so I'll be playing a bunch of that and telling you if it is just Overwatch 1, spoiler alert, yeah, but we'll get into that next
this
week.
time you unlock the characters,
and it's got a really good, like, honestly, I don't know if we do like a best soundtrack award last year for the HGAs. I don't remember, but it's gonna be a really difficult year this year for soundtracks, because I feel like the soundtracks this year are like next level. Like, every time I'm like, damn, some of the soundtracks from this year are just like that Overwatch 2 theme. Every time I hear it, I hate Overwatch so much, but that, like, the new theme that they did for it makes me like on the verge of tears every time I hear it. It's so damn good. And the same with Xenoblade. It's going to be such a crazy year for, like, when we talk about music. Something happened in video games this year. It just wasn't games, it was music. But we've got that, obviously. Persona's coming out. We'll have the wrap up of the 25th tragedy, which we'll talk about at some point on the podcast. Bayonetta 3 comes out towards the end of the month. Is there any games you're planning on picking up, Hunter, other than those?
Probably not. I could get Plague Tale, but I don't think I'll have time to actually play all of it before Bayonetta comes out, so I'm just gonna leave that for Christmas.
We'll see. I may end up picking up Gotham Knights if it turns out to be an actual video game that isn't tragic. I'm literally basically, I'll be doing what you guys do, where I'll be holding off till I see reviews, and if the reviews go, surprisingly, it's actually pretty decent, I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll play it. But I have a Saints Row feeling, and I was very right about Saints Row last time, so I was like, I'm just gonna stick to that gut for now. And there's other stuff coming out, but we'll see if we cover stuff as we go. What could possibly happen? And then as we get into November with Pokemon and God of War, there's still games to come out, not many, but we'll bide our time. We'll come up with some topics. We'll see. We'll see. let's start, I guess, with Google Stadia. So I don't know. Do you have the do you have the fucking the epitaph open, dude?
The obituary.
Yeah. Do you have the thing? Yeah, I'll get it up. I'll get their death sentence up. Let me get it up real quick. It's just the funniest thing ever because there's that joke on the internet where it's like the Google graveyard where you just have the image of everything Google's ever killed off, and it's like a long list of things, and it's like, yeah.
I feel like they held on to this experiment longer than some of their other ones, but it could just be me not paying super close attention to
It's been like
things.
3 years. That's pretty.
Yeah,
that's a pretty long run for a Google project.
Like, honestly, as soon as it
November
didn't take
2019.
off, like when people were like, "Oh, it's gonna die soon," no, I was expecting Google to pull the plug, like sooner than they did, to be honest.
Yeah, when we were joking about Google Stadia being a failure and stuff like that, when we were talking about it in like 2020 with Immortals and stuff like that, I remember specifically being like, it's not bad. Like, it's like, if you're into cloud streaming, it was pretty decent. It was solid. It's just, there's no point in using it because why the fuck would I pay £60 or whatever for a full-priced game and just only be able to play it on streaming? It's really fucking stupid. Especially when you have stuff like Xbox with xCloud, where you're just able to play your library if you already own it as part of Game Pass Ultimate subscription. Or PlayStation, where it's like, yeah, you're playing PS3 games as part of a subscription. It's like, or your PS4 games. It makes more sense that way. But regardless,
I think that's probably their biggest flaw in their like model, honestly, was the fact that you had to buy the games again, or probably again for most of these. Like, I don't think anyone was going to Google Stadia to play something for the first time.
Yeah.
Or like, so if it would have been a subscription thing where now you can play on any kind of computer that can.
And I wouldn't be surprised if someone picks up the tech or Google like partners with somebody to use that tech. I would not be shocked. Like in the long term, my guess would probably be Sony, if anybody, because I feel like Xbox has already got that stuff
Xbox
down.
Has already got their thing covered. So yeah, I could see Sony partnering up with them.
Something like that. But it's like same with Luna. Like people, I don't even like. I only remember Amazon Luna when people mention Stadia because I'm like, oh yeah, Amazon also has this, and I've never used it, and it's probably less profitable than even fucking Stadia. But anyway, blah de blah. Phil Harrison, who's the vice president and general manager of Stadia, was he a Xbox person? I feel like I know that name from somewhere.
One of these Google Stadia guys was.
It's been everywhere. He's had his.
He was in like a position at PlayStation during the PS3 launch. So.
Okay, this guy's the fucking Grim Reaper of video games. He was he was at Sony during the PS3. He then moved to Microsoft for the launch of the Xbox One, and then moved to Google for Stadia. This guy's the fucking Reaper,
been
bro.
In, like the Wii U, that would have been like a triple whammy of tragedy.
This dude, he is genuinely. Yeah, he was part of Atari in the late 2008 as well. Like genuinely, this guy he's like Midas, but everything he touches turns to a fucking tragedy. Like, genuinely. There's no gold there. No gold in these fucking hills. Like, that's tragic.
Oh my god.
But anyway, he wrote that for many years, Google has invested across multiple aspects of the gaming industry. We help developers build blah, blah, blah. He's just basically going, look, we tried. We really did. I swear to God. But basically, what they're saying is... Stadia's approach to streaming games for consumers was built on a strong technology foundation. It hasn't gained traction with users that we expected, so we've made the difficult decision to begin winding down Stadia's streaming service. We're grateful to dedicated Stadia players that have been with us from the start. We'll be refunding all Stadia hardware purchases made through the Google Store and all game and add-on content purchases made through the Stadia Store. Players will continue to have access to their games library and play through until January the 18th, 2023. And then they will be saying goodbye. And then they said that the underlying technology will be continuing to be used for other things as part of Google. And, yada, yada, yada. I think the most interesting part about this is the fact that everybody's getting their money back. I honestly am shocked.
Them, and not something I would have expected them to do. Because yeah, like when Amazon cancels Luna in a couple years, like I wouldn't be shocked if they were just like, haha, sucks to be you.
Peace.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. It's just one. It's yeah, especially because of the hardware. Because with the hardware, the thing is, the hardware was there was a controller, but also it was like there was a Chromecast. The Chromecast will still work. So it's like it's very interesting that they are even doing it for hardware that was bought from Google directly. I wasn't expecting that because I thought they'd be like, you got a Chromecast out of it, and the controller works as like a Bluetooth controller, so you can still technically use it on like Steam. So bye bye, who cares? Like,
I'm lucky. But
yeah, who cares? But
so
that's like really interesting.
if nothing else, if you have a different console, like if you already had it, because I I think it would shock me if people who were using Stadia just didn't own something else, because I know that's like what they were kind of pushing towards, but I don't think it ever got to the point where like people less into video games than like you or me would be using it. So it would shock
No,
me if someone didn't have a console. So like if getting refunded on the things they bought, at least they could buy whatever games they were using
and I mean, I
on
think the
what
people that
they
I feel
have.
bad for the most are devs, and what I mean by that is like there are people who are making indie games who will have put time into the tech and all of that stuff to make sure it works for Stadia.
And then
And
it's just
especially
gone.
there are games that are supposed to be releasing this month and next month and into next year, which will have fully started development on those kind of things. And now poof kind of gone, and there's nothing. It's not like, oh, we were making it for the PlayStation, and it's like it's not like, I don't feel like it's easily transferable because
Yeah,
chances are if they were
Yeah.
making a Stadia port, they were probably already making a PC version or a console version. You can't really reallocate those resources, so it kind of
yeah,
sucks.
that's a bummer. It's like when all those animations disappeared from the Warner Bros. Thing a month or so ago. It's like, haha, bye. No word of warning for you.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some games on here that haven't released yet or have TBAs. I guess that'd be like fine. It's like Ubisoft is like, oh no, I guess we won't be able to make Avatar Frontiers of Pandora for Stadia anymore. Like, who gives a shit, right? But
Yeah.
like a lot of indies, especially, they're the kind of people that I'd feel sorry for. Like I say, it's going to be interesting though. It'll be one of those things like the whole Kojima thing was in the news this week about how the horror game Kojima was working on forever was initially a
Not Death
Stadia.
Stranding too, you
Yeah,
industry chuds.
yeah, it was originally supposed to be working with Stadia on it, but they at the last minutes decided they had talks with Microsoft, and Microsoft Azure was more appealing to them for some reason. Um, so I don't know if things are going to move over there, or if like I say, I feel like most of the games are already coming to other places anyway. But
Yeah.
it's like I say, I'm not sad like at all,
Yeah.
really. Like the last person I
Yeah,
wanted to
like
be a big head in the industry is fucking Google. That's the last thing that you'd really want.
no, I don't.
Same with
I
Amazon. You
definitely
don't really want
Yeah.
yeah,
Amazon.
I want these bigger companies that already exist to stay out.
Keep
Like
their fingers out of this pie.
Yeah.
Microsoft can stay because they've been here for long enough, but
Yeah.
Amazon and Google, I want like more than
They
an
don't
arm's reach
belong.
away. Um, if
They
Disney
sit at a different lunch
if
table.
Disney encroaches any further than they have, I will be a little annoyed too. But uh, yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like I don't know. Truly tragic, I guess. And I guess it kind of proves that point again where again you hear it a lot from a lot of the games journalists and kind of industry. And I think this is solely because, and it's like I'm not trying to hate on them or anything, but everybody in that fucking industry, 90% of that fucking industry works in San Fran and Los Angeles, the two cities that are probably the best built up for something like streaming games. Like, it's the future. This is it. It's here, people. When it's like literally every other corner of the world is not really ready for streaming. I know for a fact you can stream games in the UK. You can do it pretty well, but it's not good enough and it's not worth the bandwidth strain to really be doing it constantly. I prefer to just download it, because then it doesn't stop people from watching stuff. It doesn't take over the whole internet. You don't have to worry about those kinds of things. I feel like, again, it's one of these kind of Silicon Valley ideas where I'm like, it's inevitably it's good as
Yeah, it's
part
gonna
of
get
it. It's not a
there
replacement though.
someday, and I don't think you can't ever really replace it, because I don't ever want to have the library of games that I'm playing be just suddenly vanished, and then like even if they're refunding my money, I'd be a little annoyed.
Well, the thing is, you would not expect them to do that again. Like, that's the thing
Yeah.
is, if Sony or Microsoft got into the streaming industry, you'd 100% guarantee that their licenses will be like, when we shut down, that's it, you lose. Like, it'll be in your terms of service, and you'll be
Good
like,
day,
yeah,
sir.
yeah, good
Yeah.
day, sir. Have fun. And to be honest, I'm surprised there's not something. There probably is something like that in Stadia's, but Stadia's probably such a big failure. And also, I just want to say that they're probably getting a massive fucking tax write-off for this failure, by the way. If this plummets down, they're probably going to get a lot of the money back from the tax write-off. So, to them, this probably goodwill gesture is probably a benefit to them rather than a con, because they were like, we could shut this down and everybody can be mad at us, or we can give them the slight amount of money back because we're Google and we have mountains of money, and we can probably get it back from a tax write-off later anyway. So who knows?
Like,
it's just, it's kind of stupid, but who knows? Or maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm not a financial expert.
Stadia outlasted Babylon's fall.
Everything will last fucking Babylon's fall, dude. Is Babylon's fall on Stadia? I feel like it should be.
It would be so.
I think
It
Marvel's
would be really
Avengers
funny.
is on Stadia.
Marvel's Avengers is fucking everywhere, and it doesn't deserve it. Dude, every Assassin's Creed game is on Stadia except for Ezio Collection and 1, which I think's interesting. But hey,
except for the Ezio Collection.
Yeah.
Like, 1 doesn't surprise me that much because 1 hasn't been touched since it released, I don't think. Or did it get like a
It's
Steam
on Xbox.
port, maybe?
It's on backwards compatibility with Series X, but other than that,
but yeah, aside from that, 1 has just been untouched. Honestly, like games from the PS3 generation that might benefit from a remake, go for it, Ubisoft. But
I feel like they're going to. They're doing the whole. They're going back to that kind of era of Assassin's Creed with this new one, with Mirage. So I'm like, I am like, there is no fucking way in hell you're going out of your way to do a smaller game that's set in a similar setting to Assassin's Creed 1 and aren't gonna go, what if we at least do a remaster of Assassin's Creed 1? You know what I mean? Like, I to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they just did a full-on remake of it, but... Because, hey, Assassin's Creed Japan's going to be at least 2024, so they need something to hold them down. But,
the whole Assassin's Creed Infinite business is just going to house Ubisoft's version of the Resident Evil remakes, where they're just remaking all of the games until they get up to the point where it doesn't matter.
I feel like Assassin's Creed's going to get to that point eventually where they start remaking them, you know? Like, they've ported them all, now what can they do? I feel like remakes the next stage.
Yeah, and because the first game never got ported, what a great place to start.
And, you know, because the 1 remake was so well received, we're gonna go and do 2. And, you know, because we did 2, we might as well do the rest of the Ezio trilogy while we're at it, because it's got the same assets. And, you know, while we're at it, we might as well just finish Desmond's story off and do Assassin's Creed 3 remake. And, you know, while we're at it, everyone loves Black Flag, let's do it. And, you know, while we're at it, Unity was a bit buggy and people really didn't love that game as much. It deserves a second chance, let's do it. And, you know, Syndicate doesn't work on PS5, so let's just remake that one while we're at it.
Syndicate doesn't work on PS5?
No, it's like one of the 9 games that doesn't.
Oh my god.
Which is a shame, because that's probably my favorite PlayStation 4 generation Assassin's Creed game as well. It's a shame.
Is the PS4 or PS5 version of Fall Guys still busted?
Yeah.
I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny. It's never going to fix itself. But now, rest well, Stadia. I used you for 20 minutes and it was all right, but, you know, c'est la vie. I won't be crying.
Sure there will be some other cloud game stream service hoopla in a couple of years.
And as for the rest of the gaming industry, look over your shoulder and see if Phil Harrison's working for your company, because I don't know, that's a dark omen. I feel bad for him, to be honest. Like that's literally like that's like rolling.
I don't know,
That's like rolling a
because
dice 3 times and getting 1. You're like, that's just fucking unlucky there. Like genuinely. Or
maybe it's
it
a
is
him problem.
Maybe it's a him problem.
You
Who
know?
knows?
'Cause I'm pretty sure he's been like at some kind of point of authority in all of these. It's not like he was a
Oh yeah, he was the
grunt
head
when
of Stadia. He was the head of Stadia. And
he was the head of Stadia. I don't think he was.
What was
yeah,
he the
it's
head
not
of?
like he was a grunt at PlayStation or anything. He was in charge of something.
He was he joined the interactive entertainment team at Microsoft in 2012 and then left in 2015. And then I don't know what he was at Sony. Served as the president of part of Sony. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably him being the common denominator. I feel like is more than just bad luck on his part.
Who knows? Who knows?
Twice
But hey,
coincidence, 3 his pattern.
who knows, man? You know, it seems like the games industry loves giving everybody a second, third, and fourth chance. So you know, who knows what's next?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways,
that's enough news because that's all we have. Let's talk about fucking Fenyx Rising, Immortals bollocksy shitty name game, which is really terrible.
Gods and monsters.
Gods and Monsters. My opinion still hasn't changed. It's an awful name for a video game. I also hate how Phoenix is spelled with an F and a Y, and it's called Rising because what's Phoenix is a character in this game, the main character. So it's called Immortals Fenyx Rising. So I'm assuming this is a Horizon territory where Immortals is the brand and Fenyx Rising is the name of the game, like Zero Dawn. But
Yeah.
my problem to that is, how is Fenyx rising? Because it's a story of her coming from nothing to becoming a god, essentially. So shouldn't it be Fenyx rises? Why is it rising? Because it's talking as if she's rising in the present, but she's not, because it's told in the past tense of the story about how Fenyx rises. So why is it called Rising if it's got a narrator telling you what happened? I don't get this name. It's awful on so many levels.
damn.
I don't know. And
Can't
also,
believe Ethan got the
like,
grammar correct
man,
there.
they're just.
It was bound to happen at some point.
They were just when they decided Phoenix, they just decided Rising, I guess, because Phoenix, ashes, all that.
But isn't it Phoenix rises from the ashes?
I mean, this could have also been called Immortals Fenyx Rose.
Yeah,
In the
but I
past
get why. Yeah,
tense.
but I get why that one is. I get why
Sounds
it's not.
silly.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I get why they didn't want to do that. I feel like it should be called Immortals Fenyx Rising because I'm so used to it now.
And
But
Knuckles.
but no, if Immortals of Fenyx Rises sounds better. But oh well, who cares? Gods and Monsters. That was the better name. They should have just kept it as
It
Gods and
was.
Monsters.
Why'd they switch it like 3 weeks before the game came out?
Because it is true, because this game is very much about, ladies and gentlemen, gods and monsters. Wow. So, it's the
This
Odyssey.
is available on Amazon Luna.
Thank God for that. Thank God.
For 2 more years.
It's also available everywhere super cheap. I don't know if you guys, if you're in the UK especially, you can pick this game up physically from a load of places for like £10. So if you want to buy it for super cheap, you can do it. It's a Zelda clone. In good ways and bad ways. I feel like this game is fine. My review of this, my bottom line, Kyle, is this.
Why is
Immortals
this game on the Nintendo Switch?
It's everywhere.
How does this game run on the Nintendo Switch?
Magic.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I don't understand.
I don't either.
So what's your bottom line, Ethan?
My bottom line is Immortals Fenyx Rising is the best Ubisoft game I've played in years, but that doesn't mean it's good. And that is my review of Immortals Fenyx Rising. It's fine. It does the job. If anything, there's some fun to be had with Immortals, but at the same time, it is literally just fucking Breath of the Wild, but with Greek gods. And it comes with its pros, it comes with its cons. I feel like, for example, the way some of its movement systems and some of its abilities work are actually quite fun, how they chain into combat and stuff like that. Like, you see people doing stupid shit all the time where they're like, hey, let's do some 360 no-scopes with the magnetism in Breath of the Wild and start fucking hitting people from nowhere and do some tricks with the ice and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine, but practically no one's ever using magnetism in combat really ever, unless it's to steal someone's weapon. Or, you know, it's like
If there
you
are
use
those metal
yeah.
boxes around, I'll use those to smack people from a
Yeah, which you
distance
can do
before
in
I
this
actually
game.
go in and
But
fight.
one of the things I
But
like with this kind of game is, for example, you have flying enemies. So one of the upgrades for your magnetism is you can use the magnetism to pull yourself into the enemy so you can start whacking them with your fucking stick again. So you don't have to
Oh,
worry
that's nice.
about
Like,
jumping around aimlessly. Or it's like
yeah.
they have an ability which allows you to lift yourself up from the air, but as you do it, because it's like it's a power given to you by Ares, a bunch of spears pop up out of the ground and it knocks everybody up around you as well, so you can continue the air chain attacks. It's stuff like that that works rather well, but it's also Assassin's Creed combat. And if you've played Assassin's Creed ever since Origins, you know that it's just God of War combat, which I also don't really like, where it's just R1 light attack, R2 heavy attack, get to fucking swinging, because that's all you do. And when you realize, like me, that the best move in this game is to just jump aerial combo R2, 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 you start hurting your hand because you have to you're just spamming R2 everywhere and just jumping around like it's no tomorrow. It's just like,
Is there no button mapping?
there is, but also the rest of the control scheme just kind of works with the way it is, and it's like it
Okay.
doesn't feel like there's a point in changing it. To be honest, you probably could, but I think the control scheme is fine for the most part. Otherwise, it has some good features that Breath of the Wild doesn't, which I think Breath of the Wild should have. And if they're not in the sequel, I'll be very disappointed. One of them is they have a charge guide, which is similar to the Swift Sail in Wind Waker HD, where you hold the square button, it consumes less stamina, and you go faster. It's a really good feature. It lets you go around super duper quick. I like that. It's good. Breath of the Wild should do that. The second ability, which is to do with the glider, which makes it better than Breath of the Wild's, is there's a hold circle button to dive. So you can dive while still having the wings enabled, and you don't take fall damage. Fucking add something like that. That shit's sick. That's sick. It
Yeah.
allows traversal to be so much better. Love it. It's great. Things I don't like. The rest of the game. No, I'm kidding. Things I don't like. The sheer repetitiveness of everything. Everything is so repetitive. Every puzzle is either one of three things: move the fucking block, move the fucking ball, shoot a fucking fire arrow at something. Those are the only three solutions to every single puzzle in this video game. Every area of the map goes for...
They copied the wrong area of Zelda.
Basically. They went for a visually distinct map, which I thought was interesting because Breath of the Wild is a load of fields, to be honest with you. There's plains and there's jungles, but for the most part, it's a bunch of green, so the world can get a bit samey. So I was like, oh, cool, they're going to do something interesting. No, it's all fucking visual. There's no fucking substance to it whatsoever. You have desert, slightly less desert, forest, and slightly more forest. There's an ice area, like, of course there is, and there's a lava area, because of course there is. And it's like...
yeah.
It's just all kind of generic, and the world itself feels generic. It feels like a Ubisoft open world where it's just a tick box of things to do, and they just don't show you the ticks. Like, you're just adding steps here, Ubisoft. You're just adding steps. I also don't like that this game basically took everything from Breath of the Wild when it didn't need to. Hey guys, do you remember that part in Breath of the Wild where there were 4 Guardians and you had to activate all 4 of them to help you defeat the boss? And if you went to all 4 areas and did all 4 quest lines, it would help you with the final boss. Well, guess what, guys? There's 4 gods surrounding 4 corners of the fucking map, and you gotta go to all 4 of them and save them so that they can all help you beat the final boss. Why 4? You did not need to copy that whatsoever. There was no need.
When there's so much more than 4 gods in Greek mythology.
Yeah. Also, I honestly think...
Did you have the option to go and fight the boss?
No,
like,
but this time it's compulsory. You can choose which order you want to, but you can't. You have to do them.
Okay.
They also like they chose gods that were like, you know, they're fine, but they were all kind of samey because, you know, you had Athena, which was like, you know, okay, strategist, kind of makes sense. You've got Ares, god of war, okay, kind of makes sense. Then the other 2 that you have, I'm going to have to fucking look them up because I'm not going to lie, my Greek mythology is not a high point in my mythology.
Nemesis,
if it was Norse...
the goddess of revenge.
Yeah, no, if it was... Yeah, so...
Aphrodite
and Hephaestus, which is so weird because basically they chose... Thank you, Wikipedia. And also Hermes is like your guide, which makes sense. Hermes is like your kind of
Yeah, that
guide,
makes
tells
sense.
you where to go. That makes sense. But also, the awkward part about all of this is literally Hermes, Aphrodite, Ares, and Hephaestus all are basically linked to each other because they all have or were in a relationship with Aphrodite at a
Yeah,
given
because
time.
Aphrodite
So
was originally married to like
she's married to
Hephaestus, and then she
Hephaestus.
cheated with
She
Ares,
cheated with Ares, and she has
and
a
then they
kid
pushed
with
him down a mountain.
Hermes. Yeah, and she has a kid with Hermes as well. So it's like everybody feels linked. Like, you know, where it's like, oh, the 4 champions in Zelda all feel unique because they all come from their own tribe and they all come from their own way of living. And it's like, it's bringing together everybody in the Kingdom of Hyrule together to stop Ganon.
Yeah,
In this game, it's Aphrodite and her fucking 3 lovers and fucking and Athena, and that's
Athena.
it. And it's like, out of all the gods, you have all the gods on the fucking playbook. Why just the ones that are linked to Aphrodite? I don't get it. I really don't get the
That is
choice there.
weird.
Where's my boy Dionysus at?
Yeah, Dionysus was cool.
It's very weird. I also don't like, basically, this whole game has a running commentary where Zeus is basically asking Prometheus, sorry, is it yeah, it's Prometheus,
Yeah.
how to deal with Typhon, which is this, I don't know what he is. He's
He's
like
a
a
Titan.
giant. He's like a Titan,
He's like
right?
he's a Titan. I forget.
So they tried to stop him. So Prometheus is basically telling the story of Phoenix, who's going to be the person that saves the realm of the gods, basically. And you forever have their fucking commentary in the back of your head, and they won't shut up. And everybody is basically, here's the joke, guys. Prometheus will tell you what's happening and do like a monologue of like how serious and how hard the journey is. And then Zeus will make a funny haha joke where he's like, I'm a dipshit, ha ha ha. And then every time someone happens, they'll be like, oh yeah, she was a stubborn child, or I hate that guy. And everyone's like, ha ha ha. And it's so unfunny, and I hate it. It's really bad. Like, the writing's really bad.
My favorite.
The only thing that's funny about this scenario to me, because I absolutely believe that this is just bad because Ubisoft isn't exactly the greatest at writing dialogue, is I'm just imagining, because in mythology, Zeus like chained Prometheus to a rock and
Yeah, so it's them talking,
his
yeah.
liver. So I'm just sitting there imagining him pulling up a stool while that's happening.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's
basically
telling
what
him
is
about
happening.
that.
That's basically what's happening. And there are the odd couple of jokes. There are like there's like 6, 7 jokes where I was genuinely like, okay, I see why you went with this, because you had 7 jokes that were really funny. Like, where it's like, Prometheus will start talking about his brother or whatever, and then Zeus will be like, ha, like Zeus will like make a very entertaining comment, and then Prometheus will be like, yeah, well, you did torture him or something. It's like, okay, it's like quite a funny joke, because Zeus is just so oblivious that he's just like, Zeus is a terrible person, and so every time he's like doing an anecdote, he was like, yeah, that person died in the end, or you did that to it, or you walk into a map room and you were like, and he was like, why did you turn everybody into a goat? They did the job. And then it's like, you know, Zeus was like, well, he didn't show me the job beforehand. I just turned him into a goat. And he was like, actually, that was a good job. I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, there's just funny, like, little jokes like that where I'm like, that's good. There's also, and I have to say fair play to them, there's a genuine joke in this game where the punchline is that a character is non-binary, and it's really fucking funny, and it's not like in like an offensive way, or it's not like derogatory or anything like that. It's just genuinely a non-binary joke where I was like, that's actually a fucking really funny joke. I actually laughed like properly, and I was like, I think that's the first time I've heard a joke about like that subject in a game where it wasn't something like hateful or like in a dismissive way. It was like in like an optimistic, like kind of like in a positive way. I was like, that's actually a really good joke. Liked that, but it doesn't make up for like these 7 good jokes do not make up for the 50 or 60 terrible jokes that I had to sit through.
Yeah, it's like the Borderlands ratio, where just because they have a couple that made me laugh, I'm not gonna the rest of your comedy that's, you know, middle school boy level writing isn't gonna make me put up with it.
Yeah, it's just like there's pieces of a good game here, and it's like it's just too long and it's too boring, and it's like It's fine. It's genuinely, it's the definition of fine, but it has like nothing of the personality of Breath of the Wild really to it. It's just a very Ubisoft cut and drab, very clean video game. When I say like it's a Ubisoft clean video game where it's like there's no grit to it, there's no kind of like spice to it in the slightest.
There's
It's
nothing
very polished.
necessarily
It's like
wrong with it,
yeah,
but it's also like there's nothing interesting about it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
Yeah.
looking at the reception on Wikipedia, it's all just like 7s and 8s across the board.
It's fine. It
I-
genuinely is. Like it's fine. Like I don't hate it, but it's not good. Like it's not bad. Sorry, it's not bad, but it's not like amazing. I wouldn't sit there going, "Oh, I could play more of this." I couldn't.
You're not jonesing for a sequel or anything.
It's
No.
not what you'd purchase a Stadia subscription for.
Definitely
Is
not.
what you're saying.
Definitely not. How dare you suggest that? Anyway,
Yeah, so when
Uh,
they have such classics like Hot Wheels and
Yeah.
3 Jackbox games.
My toy
Mm.
box also, as a child, had such classics as Hot Wheels. I had one that had a T-Rex. It was great.
Yo, that's badass.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a track that you shoot it through the thingy and
Oh,
decapitate a T-Rex or
I
something.
think I remember that.
Yeah.
I think I remember those commercials.
Yeah.
Damn. Things that are more interesting than Immortals Fenyx Rising. Hot Wheels.
I don't think it helps that Ubisoft, company that kind of is at the very middle of meh in most
Yeah.
of their output, chose Greek mythology to base their game around, since that's like the most used mythology in
It's-
fiction.
It's a pretty easy bucket to pull from
But yeah,
for the people without any real ideas.
yeah, like
Not to dash him, Percy Jackson's cool.
yeah,
but-
Percy Jackson's cool, and like yeah, it took until Hades for me to be interested in another game or property that was about that for a while.
Mhm.
Like there was God of War,
The old
but
God of
Yeah.
Wars, yeah.
that kind of ran its course. And then I only played Ascension because that was gifted to me one year for Christmas. Got that with Arkham Origins.
Ooh.
Yeah, fun times.
But yeah, it's like it's fine. I've nearly finished it, and I said to Kyle, I did that much exploring of the world that I think that I've done all the collectibles now in like most of the first four areas. That I'm now just gonna story rush the end of this game. Like I'm not gonna explore the remaining stuff. I'm just gonna find out what's compulsory for me to get my trophies and then dip, because I've definitely have had enough of the world at this point. But it was fine. It's fine. It's yeah. Anyway. That's enough of me talking. Hunter, what have you been playing? What's been happening in the world of Hunter? You've been had a couple of weeks off.
yeah.
What's up?
Yeah. Well, I was on vacation. I finished up all those games that I like started during the summer, and like massive gaming ADHD, where I started like 5 things and
I don't know how you do it.
slowly played all of them. I normally don't. Is the weird thing, but like I normally just go from one to the other. But started like 5 things over the summer, and worked backwards. Essentially, the first thing I beat was Roller Drome, and then it was Xenoblade, and then it was it just kept going backwards from there. But anyway, I already talked about most of those, so I played new things in this week that I had in the gap. What did I put on here first? Haven. Haven is a game that I've been relatively interested in for a while and held off on playing it because there was a physical version that I was waiting on. But
Ew.
it's made by
Physical games. Ew.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
yeah,
this
yeah.
game.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
sci-fi
he's mentioned
game
this
about...
before.
Have I?
Has he?
He's at least mentioned. You've at least mentioned it to me, not on podcast, but I feel like you've mentioned this game to me before because I remember the artwork, and I've never gone out of my way to fucking see this artwork before.
Yeah, but yeah, so it's a sci-fi game made by a studio called The Game Bakers. They made a game a few years ago called Fury. It shocked me to find out because these are drastically different games. It's like a exploration game with kind of light RPG elements to it. As far as like there's combat encounters, it's a pretty simple system where you kind of control both of them at once, and each of them are mapped to like it's kind of it almost seems like it was conceptualized around the Switch and the Joy-Cons, except I don't think it came out on the Switch until later because like they both you control them like on each end of the analogs, or not the analog stick, the face buttons. Like direction pad controls the one, and then the face buttons do the other, and they both do the same things. But it's a game about these two lovers, Yu and K. He was in like YU, Narukami, all that. Not you.
Yeah.
You listening right now, you're in this video game. Congrats, you have a lover.
Doing better than me. But anyway, it's about these two lovers who escape from their like it's called the apiary. It's like a society that's their whole beef with it seems to be that there's a matchmaker who determines your mate, and I imagine that other personal freedoms are also being encroached upon, given that they choose who you you know mate with and all that. So they developed an attraction for each other before the story, and they were like, nah. And it picks up after they have basically crashed onto this planet that is uninhabited, called Source, is what it's called. And from there, they're like exploring. Their ship is broken, and they're trying to fix it up, and all of that. As you're exploring, you realize, oh, hey, this is a problem. It seems like the apiary tried to colonize this at one point. No one seems to be around, but they know about this place, and that's not great, because we're closer to being found than we might have been otherwise. So from there, there's the kind of that going on. So it's so there's it's not just exploring at a casual. Well, it's gameplay wise, it's very casual exploration, but in the context of the story, at least there's stakes there, or some kind of driving interest, dilemma, and all that. The thing that's cool about this is that as far as video games go, most of games that focus on relationships seem to be centered around building up to being in one, rather than these two are already in a relationship, and actually being in one is what the dynamic is. And I don't feel like games do that very often. Either
Nothing
it's like
does
the
that
lover is
very often.
Yeah.
the lover is dead, and you flash back sometimes.
Yeah, or it's always
but
to do with the start. Yeah, it's like it's classic anime as well. Every fucking romance anime ever made, for the most part, is always about the build up and never the actual.
and never the actual
relationship.
results.
Why I like
Yeah.
Golden Time, good anime by the way,
Yeah.
where it's like it's a will they won't they relationship thing for all of 7 episodes, and then the remainder of the season they're actually in a relationship. I was like, wow, what's that? Wow, I'm like, that's crazy. So yeah,
But yeah,
I don't know why games don't do it. It's weird.
Yeah, well, Transistor did it too, and that's probably why that stands out so much.
Yeah.
As far as that's concerned, but their dynamic is really good too. Like it's just a lot of the game.
Truck on Iron.
Sorry. A lot of the game.
Truck-kun. He's
Oh
back.
no, Isekai. No, I get Hunter. Don't go.
Oh no. But yeah, a lot of the interactions between them is just them being goofy at their ship while they're trying to fix it. Like the one I got yesterday or whatever, because like certain things you do at the ship will trigger just little cutscenes of conversations between them. Like eating will trigger them doing something like a little bit later. One of them was the guy K was doing like push-ups, and you was like, can you do them one-handed? And I was like, I've never tried, I've never seen the point. And then she's like, "Oh, you're just scared you can't do it, huh?" And then he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna impress you with something you've never seen before." And he's like, "Back push-ups." And he just like got on his back and started pushing the air, and she laughed at him. It was really funny. Like they just got other silly interactions like that. That's really cool. Like, it's like not all of it's roses and all that. Like they argue with each other, but it seems like rather human interactions. It's not just, oh, you said something that made me angry for apparently no reason. Grr. Kind of like the typical, anime aggro nonsense that happens where it's like, oh, seems
Drama
like
for
that wouldn't
drama's
have.
sake.
Yeah, no, it
Dude, I
seems
love
like
drama for drama's sake. It's good shit.
it seems like pretty natural reactions that they would have.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this game's pretty cool so far. I'm enjoying it.
Cool. Well, you've got 3 games here. So do you want to do the
Yeah,
do you want to do the
yeah.
second one? Then I'll talk about the one indie game I play, and then you can talk about Chicory after that.
Yeah, I can do
Sound
that.
good?
I
And
just
then
had to
Kyle
check
can sit in
because
silence for 5 minutes as he tells us what he's done this week.
Hey, I'm
Sound
having a
good?
good time.
yeah. So the other game that I was dabbling with, one of them this week, was Soulstice, which basically my interest in this game spawned last year when I saw the trailer for it. I think the same day that my heart was broken by what Babylon's Fall turned out to be.
What do you mean? Successful. Brilliant game.
Yeah.
Still alive
Yeah.
and kicking.
For
now.
now. But anyway, GameStop is literally giving it away for free if you ask them before they destroy it.
Should have got one just for prosperity.
Honestly, yeah. But so yeah,
That's
this is a
history.
hack and slash game that you know, right after Babylon's Fall turned out to not be what I wanted it to be. This was like I saw a trailer and it's like, oh, this lady with a big sword. It looks like a cool little game here. It was published by Modus Games, and I don't remember the developer off the top of my head. But,
Don't worry, I'll have a look because I have
yeah.
Google at my side.
Essentially, it centers around this duo here. Briar is an Ashen Knight.
Reply Game Studios.
Reply Games. Yeah, okay. It was in my. I knew it started with like a re. I couldn't remember if it was reply or replay.
Made by Re. There you go.
Yeah.
Re.
Yeah. Re. Like with 7 E's.
Yeah,
But yeah, it centers around this duo, Briar and Lute. Briar is a Ashen Knight, is what they're called, and Lute is a spirit, essentially. And they make up this unit called a Chimera, and they're... Oh, man. All right, so the lore kind of passed me over, to be fair. This game is a hack and slash. I don't know why I led with that. That was a mistake on my point.
It's fine. Who cares what actually happened? Who gives a shit, bro? How's the game? How's the game?
The game is cool. Like it's a hack and slash game that is pretty solid for what it's doing. Like if you need something to tide you over while you wait another month for Bayonetta 3 to come out and don't want to replay like the same Devil May Cry 3 or
No. Atlas is never going to love us if he didn't. It's Persona 5 until they recognize us. Persona 5. Make sure you buy 5 copies for each of your friends, all 5 of them.
So if you're like a person who is hyper fixated on like wacky action games and need something to tie you over,
Persona 5 Strikers is a great video game that released last year.
And need something to tide you over until Bayonetta 3 comes out. This game is pretty solid in that regard. Like it's got all the things about these kind of games that I look for. It have the staggered button press combos. They do this helpful little thing if you've never played a game like this before, where the weapon will flash when it's actually like you've waited long enough for a different input.
That's
I personally don't need that for these kind of games because I just kind of got the rhythm down most of the time anyway. But that's helpful for like if you're someone who's not played one of these before. I can see how that would be a feature that's neat. The lady's sword functions as like multiple things. It's kind of like it's kind of like a Ruby weapon in that regard. Like right now I've got a sword and it turns into a hammer, so that's neat. Like the light attack is the sword and the hammer is like the heavy attack, and it seems like there's going to be more to switch through from. So once I get like a second weapon, they're like the switching's mapped to the D-pad, so I can go from like heavy combo on the hammer to switch into, I don't know, fisticuff kind of thing, and then back to the sword. The only complaint really that I have is that the actual base sword form of this weapon seems to be stuck to has 2 combos and the Devil May Cry Stinger move, which is just the really quick lunge forward for closing the distance. So unless they're like hiding combos on the move list from me for some reason, I don't think that'll see much variety. But at least there seems to be like 2 or 3 other weapons for me to unlock, and it seems like they'll have it mapped out in a way that I can get to all of that arsenal at a pretty reasonable, like just a button press really. So that's very smart of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Pretty solid looking game so far. Like, yeah, if you like crazy action games and the like and want something new, I'd say give it a look. I'd probably recommend this over something like No More Heroes 3 at least.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not on the PS4.
What, really?
Yeah, apparently.
This is a PS5 exclusive game? Okay, so like not to disparage
Apparently.
the indie game that's trying its best here, but it doesn't, there's nothing about it that seems like it has to be on the PS5.
Unless
looks like
Google's lying to me.
It looks like a late gen, like PS3, early gen PS4 kind of game. Like
Yeah,
doesn't have,
no,
like,
right from the PlayStation Store.
it
Console's
doesn't have the
PS5.
action sapped out of it like a PS3 game would, but it that's weird. But okay. Fair enough. That's a bummer though.
Tell me about it. Oh well.
Yeah, Soulstice looks neat.
You
Give it
win
a
some,
look
you
if
lose
you like
some.
these games. It's okay, Kyle. You can just play like the 2 Bayonetta games that you haven't yet to tide you over
Ugh.
till Bayonetta 3.
I don't want to play those though, Hunter.
Why not?
I don't
You
know.
liked Devil May Cry. These are Bayonetta's good.
May I recommend Persona 5 from Elkin?
No.
No, Carl's going to come
Yeah,
to the
Ethan's got a
toxicity.
point. You haven't played Royal yet.
You can come on the
No,
toxicity
but
train if you want. You can come join some Overwatch 2 pain. That'll be fun. We'll go and cry. 5v5 is going to be, it's going to change the game entirely. Now there'll be only 10 people mad at one time instead of 12. It's going to change the game forever.
Unironically, I would play Overwatch with you.
Do it. We should do it.
Free to play in it.
Yeah, it's free to play. We can bully Salmon to get in it as well. He played Overwatch. Right?
Nice.
We can bully everyone.
Yeah.
Do you not have phones? It's easy. Just play it.
Hell yeah.
But no. Oh, it's my turn, isn't it? Fuck.
What's next, Ethan?
I played Toem.
What's that, Ethan?
It's a game.
Wowee. Tell me more.
Right? No.
Okay.
No,
Moving on.
so-
As
Hunter,
I
you played a
understand,
thing.
it was a neat little indie game about taking pictures.
Oh, are you leaking our DMs? That's very rude, Hunter. That's very rude. to
No,
leak
it's
our
just
DMs.
what I happen to know about the game.
I think that's exactly
the
what I
extent
put in
of
our
my
DMs.
knowledge of the game. I
You
think
can
it's
link
in
my
black and
DMs if you
white,
want,
so,
Hunter. There's
you know.
nothing to hide in my DMs. They're fucking. There's nothing interesting in my DMs. It's just me saying that I won't buy things, then I buy things, or someone sending me a tweet and me
Oh,
going,
right.
"That's funny," or "Why'd you send me this tweet?" Like that, I might have got the most boring. Like, it's not entertaining. I'm a failure. I'm a failure. I'm not
I
good
don't
at
know.
writing
When you were
messages.
spitting your thought processes about Somnium files at me earlier this year, that was pretty amusing.
That's the
Your
thing
thought
is,
process
it's
on
like,
Xenoblade 3.
oh yeah, true. That's all I'm good for is good rambles. I feel like if someone looked at my account and they went through my DMs, they'd be like, all this guy does is message about the podcast. a bunch of random rambles about him finishing video games and the occasional "How's life?" Like that's it. Like that's all I do. Very boring. Anyway, but no. So in my attempt for those, I don't think I brought up my little plan that I've had for a while. So for those of you who didn't know, Persona 5 Royal on the PlayStation 4 was my 100th platinum trophy on my account. And as the release for Royal was getting closer for PS5, I noticed that I was very close to 150. So I thought it'd be quite funny and quite cool if the PS5 version was my 150th as well as my 100th, because I'm not waiting till 200 to play Persona 5 again. So I was like, let's do it. We'll try and get it. So there were a couple of games that I played. So that's why earlier in the year I was playing the director's cut of Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding. Because one, I wanted to see what the new content was, but two, also free platinum, wasn't it? I'm a sucker. I won't take those $1 platinums, Hunter. I'm not that sad, but I will
Yeah.
take a nice upgrade.
You have
platinum.
standards.
I have standards. So I needed a couple more. You know, I did AI, the Somnium Files and Nirvana Initiative, did both of those. I needed a couple more. And so I was like, Immortals is one of them, so I'll do that, because that game's been sitting on my shelf since it came out. I haven't played it. So I was like, I'll do that. And I was like, I want to play an indie game. And I played The Artful Escape, and I went, I want to play a good indie game. So then I looked at the PS Plus Essential list, and I was like, Toem, I've heard about that game before. I think Kind of Funny or somebody mentioned it. So I booted it up.
Yeah, I think Greg Miller likes it.
And it's basically a very cute little isometric kind of. It's kind of like, you know that Lego built that Lego game that released a couple of years ago that was like Lego Journey or whatever, where it was like the isometric kind of weird side perspective of like model diagrams. I'm not talking about isometric top down. I'm talking about like when it's like off at an angle. It's kind of like diagrams, kind of way of looking. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. It's like a 2D game. It's like 2D sprites in a 3D world kind of game where you are going around and it's like Pokemon. You're at that age now where your nan sent you out with a camera because you need to go and see this event that happens in the mountains called the Toem, which is what the game's named after, which is like it's like this fancy event that happens in this world. And it's a black and white world, and you go from point to point, and you basically it's like 6 little levels. They added a DLC one that was free that came out this month, so I think there's 6 or 7 now. But you've got this camera, and you need to just take photos to complete objectives. And it's just a very wholesome little short game that's like 2 or 3 hours long, which if you like indie games and you like lo-fi playlists and you like just going around and doing just random tasks and just, doing stuff where, for example, there's a task where a journalist, you go to the city and you're working for a newspaper agency and you've got a very J. Jonah Jameson kind of person and he tasks you with, taking a photo of, I don't remember what it was, but let's just say a celebrity and then the most handsome person you can find. And then you have to go out and you have to go and find these 2 people only to realize the most handsome person obviously is the person that asked you that question. So you take a photo of him and then hand it to him and you go, yeah, you're right. There you go. You're hired. It's stuff like that where it's just like, it's cute little puzzles. It's like, it's just a really wholesome little indie game where it's like there's nothing massive to it. It's got a very cute art style. It's all, very self-contained, and it just works really well. I like it quite a lot. And it's definitely, like I say, it's in the essential list. I think it's only on PS5. Sorry, Kyle. I think it's only the PS5 version that's free.
It is.
Add it, and then you can play it when you get your UFO one day.
One day.
But it's a wholesome little game, and like I say, they did a free DLC to celebrate, which was also a fun little level. It's probably my favorite level, to be honest. But it's a fun little puzzle, little photography game, and I liked it quite a bit. So check it out. It takes like 3 hours. It's good. You should play it. Okay, that's enough of me. Now back to Hunter.
All right, well, the other game I dabbled with this week was Chicory, A Colorful Tale.
Also in black and white. Initially.
Also in black and white until you color it in. This game is, it's a cool little indie game. This is one of the holdovers from last year that was on my to-do list forever, but I never got around to doing until now. And then the PlayStation Plus Tier 2 subscription hoopla added it, and I was like, oh, at least I can at least check it out. If there's like I'm probably going to eventually give this game money somehow, some way, there's a physical version, I'll buy that. If not, I'll just buy it anyway. But I really like it so far. It's a very cute, feel good kind of game about self-expression essentially. Um, the whole setup is like you're playing, you name your character. It's funny, you start the game and it's like, what's your favorite food? And I was like, I didn't want to think about it too hard, so I just typed in Oreos, and that ended up being the name of the character that you play as. I'm like, oh, if I would have known that.
Chicory?
No, the character, Chicory is the brush wielder, like essentially the brush wielder in the lore of the game is the person who like goes around and colors a lot of the world in and all that, high honor and all that. And Chicory is the current brush wielder, and you are like the janitor at the tower that they live in.
Oh, nice.
And then suddenly, while you're you're dusting the room of the tower that you were on, all the color from the world just disappears. And you go and check it out, and then suddenly the brush is just chilling outside of Chicory's room. And you're like, oh, this is weird. So then you take the brush and go and start coloring the world in, doing things for people as they ask you to, because they're like, oh, you're the new wielder, blah, blah, blah. You go and ask, like, the wielder title is something apparently, like, you choose a successor and, it gets handed down from thing to thing. And the beginning of the game had a few jokes about, like, famous painters, like, oh, this guy was abstract and people didn't like him at the time, but now they've come around on him and all that kind of stuff. But so you take the brush and you go to the wielder of the brush before Chicory to ask what gives, and they're like, you shouldn't have taken the brush, go give that back. And when that happens, Chicory's like, no, I don't want it. I'm depressed and I don't want the brush. Leave me alone. So torch passed essentially, and then you're on to solve the problems of what the world essentially. It's mostly a puzzle game, like things you interact with. The things you interact with, some certain objects in like the world will respond. Like there will be plants that either grow when they're colored in or will shrink when they're colored in. It kind of depends. And that's how you like get around, is position yourself to be like above it and make it grow and then move. And then from there it's like you could stop to color in like everything to your heart's content if you really wanted to. If they give you like different palettes for certain areas, like you don't have every color at your disposal all the time, but like the first area gives you like some
That's
blue
That's a
and
boo
green,
moment, that is, dude.
I want to turn the
purple.
whole world purple.
Purple's been around in some shade for
Good.
every chapter I've played
Paint
so
everything
far.
brown. Just like have everything just dirt. You are dirt now. Welcome to Dirt World.
But
Dirt.
yeah, you get to a forest area a little lower on the map at some point, and it's like, oh, this one's got orange in the palette and stuff. Cool. It's like a little autumn kind of vibe that you can curate. So it's
But does the game stop you from just going, no, everything is orange today? Like, does
No,
the
no,
game
like
just, like...
essentially the way
Gotta
it
paint
works
by
is
numbers.
I think it was L2 is what you use to color in. You
Mhm.
can hold it down and basically it'll just gradually fill the entire screen.
Oh,
With whatever
perfect. So
color you're
that's
choosing.
genuinely that's what I would do. I'll be like, okay, so this screen's gonna be green, and just hold L2 until the whole it's green. Like, perfect, done. And then I really hope the game at the end's like, look at all the beautiful work you did, and it's just
they've got
fucking solid shades of color everywhere.
They've got
I
a
hope that
map. They've got a map that like interacts with how you've been coloring things.
Oh, good.
So,
Mine'll look like the fucking
Yeah.
Undertale fucking mini game from the, like where it's like, from what's his name at the start, where he's like, you can't touch the red square. It's just like a load of fucking colors
Oh,
everywhere. Like that. That's what my world map will look like.
Dude, I hope the end
I
of the
mean,
game is just the old masters of the brush looking down and being like, what the heck did we give to this thing? Why
no,
is
no,
everything orange?
the game is very pro self-expression, whatever that
Oh,
might entail. So like
Also,
boo.
it's Papyrus. Papyrus was the
Papyrus,
name
yeah.
that I was forgetting for some reason. I'm like, of
Yeah.
course I know Sans, but it was
Yeah.
Papyrus.
But like, yeah, because I got to a point yesterday where I was like, oh yikes, because they were asking me to like reinterpret a classic painting or something, not like a classic painting in our world, but in like the lore of the game. It was like I don't know, it was a very fluffy cat tending to a garden or something.
Mhm.
Aw,
and,
adorable.
and they were like, reinterpret this. And I'm like, can't really do
No.
that, but I will give it my best shots. And they were very like, oh, this is nice. I was like, thank you, game. I appreciate that. But yeah. There will be certain characters that'll be like, because the colors of the world are gone, everyone's like, what happened? Some people like in the beginning were like, could you make my house this color, please? Or this palette, or etc. And I'm like, okay, sure. Why not? I haven't stopped to fill in like every page or screen. A lot of
Unacceptable.
times what
That's not how you get a trophy.
Literally,
What
if the
I
game was like
do-
paint every screen, I'd be like, yes, and just hold L2. Do any artistic creativity.
what I do is essentially like I'll get to certain screens. I'm like, yeah, paint the ground green, make the trees, and then brownish color, put some green on the top, throw some blue on the house, etc. And then when I'm ready to move on, like actually move on with what I'm doing, I just kind of hold down L2 as I walk, and whatever the page gets filled up to at that point is what it gets, and I'll switch the colors up every couple of screens. But yeah, it's a very the music in the game done by Lena Rain from the Celeste composer. So the music, fantastic, very nice feeling soundtrack to go
Nice.
with a good feeling game.
Immortals, I
And
forgot to mention Immortals, not a good soundtrack. Don't remember any of it. It's fucking awful.
oh,
Not going to be in the best soundtrack list. Nowhere near the
no.
heights of Xenoblade 3.
Well, that game also didn't come out this year.
True. But if it had, wouldn't be in the fucking competition.
Well, it's not going to be in Ethan's best backlog game list either.
No, not going to be on Ethan's best backlog list, to be honest. It's going to be a hard year this year. I can tell you right now. Not for backlog. I don't know what I fucking played this year. I don't remember. Just still thinking of the music.
It's like like last year I was strapped. I only played like 5 games that weren't released last year. Like I only had like 5 options for that choice.
What, for backlog?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't
I've
know what
like
I've played.
yeah.
Toem, I guess, counts because that was out last year.
I keep
I
a
looked at-
notepad in my phone.
Well, you don't play.
keep-
You played like 2 new games, Xenoblade
I-
3 and like
Pokemon
Splatoon.
Legends
There you go.
Arceus.
Yeah, Pokemon Legends
Brave,
Arceus.
Live
3.
Alive,
Astra.
DNF
Yeah,
Duel,
you've been doing all right.
Legends Arceus.
You've been doing alright.
Literally at the start of this year.
You've been doing all right this year.
Thank you.
I looked at the list that I was keeping, and I'm like, God, where did all these games that I finished came from? 'Cause suddenly it was like, it feels like I had like barely 10 when I finished Somnium Files, and now I'm like at 20 something.
I'm still at 10. I think the main reason is it's because like I have played a lot of games that are old this year because of buying the Xbox and Game Pass and stuff like that, and PS Plus, whatever extra premium bollocks, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's like I've played so much Nintendo stuff this year because Nintendo hasn't stopped releasing stuff this year, from Pokemon to Switch Sports to Xenoblade to Splatoon to Pokemon again, you know. And then when they're not doing that, I've been buying games to complete the collection of bullshit figures because I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time my dad was like, "You're keeping them in the boxes, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "'Cause I bet you those are an investment." I'm like, "My man, dude, he understands. He doesn't even. He didn't even like. This is the first time. Like, I was expecting him to see this shit, dude. Like, seeing the squid system, being like, what kind of weeby shit? What kind of, oh god, my son's gone full fucking degenerate. And he was just like, oh no, that they must be worth a bit. I'm like, yeah, they are. And he's like, nice. I'm like, hell yeah. He gets it. He gets it. Gotta love it. But no. Anyway, Chicory. I want to get to Chicory at some point.
Yeah, I wanted to get to Chicory.
One day. I don't know if I'll get to it by the end of
and
this year now, because
I think-
obviously, such a busy year.
Yeah.
At least a busy couple of months. Overwatch will keep me busy until Persona, and then we'll see about Bayonetta. And then we'll. That's the challenge will be, can I do another playthrough of Persona 5 in the time it takes for me to.
How far can you
God of
get
War
until
Ragnarok.
God of War?
It's 3 weeks. I feel like I can. No, I won't be finished, will I? But fucking hell, it's like
Unless
my
you do some
fourth.
fast forwarding.
It's my fourth playthrough, so I feel like it'll be okay to take a break and go and play God of War and then come back. I feel like I'll be okay.
It's like you're not gonna forget what was happening.
No.
Like you might forget where you left off, and then when you get the reminder, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah.
But no, well, I'll get to it eventually. Have you just been playing Splatoon? Have you got nothing to add, Kyle, at all? Is that all
I've
you've
been
said
playing
so
Splatoon and Guilty Gear.
Unacceptable.
I've got
Multiplayer
nothing
games
to
are
add.
cringe. They are the work of the
Dude.
devil.
This is true. I hate social interaction, and every teammate I get in Splatoon is a moron.
I honestly, I don't know how you play Splatoon by yourself, because it's literally.
I really don't. I play a
Splatoon
couple games and then dip.
It's the most miserable experience solo. Like, because you'll be
Legit.
sitting there screaming, and you'll be like, I can't tell if that is because they're 8 years old or they're just really shit at video games. I really can't tell. Like, I was saying to my
Legitimately.
friend, it's the most competitive, non-competitive game. I have more fun in fucking Overwatch quick play than I have in Splatoon quick play with Turf War,
Dude.
because
Turf
at least-
War is so sweaty all the time.
it is, dude. It's
It's so
sweaty.
miserable.
It's fucking tragic. I hate it. Wasn't a fan.
I
Also,
apparently play it better hours of the day because my time playing like Splatoon with just random people has been relatively fine, I guess.
that's
I don't know.
nice. Must be nice.
Like, oh man, I guess I just got lucky.
I think you did. I think you're all the good RNG.
Yeah.
All I know is, fun fact. Also, if you were like me and you have all the shitty amiibo, fun fact. You have to play you have to get like 30 wins or something to get all the outfits. Or if you're like me and you own
30
Splatoon 2,
wins?
if you register them in Splatoon 2 and don't even use them, just make sure you've registered them in Splatoon 2. For some reason, it's like you can play 30 matches and win 30 matches, or have Splatoon 2 data on them. So if you just write them in Splatoon 2 and close Splatoon 2 and then just boot it up in Splatoon 3, you get your shit. That's what I did. Be like me. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll work for the Splatoon 3 amiibo when they come out, but
Oof.
oh well. I can't believe I literally I went from having 2 Splatoon figures to now have all of them.
Congrats, man.
I'm not pleased with
I'm
myself.
proud of you.
I'm not
Started
proud of
from the
myself.
bottom and now you're here.
I'm not proud of myself in the slightest. The only pro is could be worse. This is why. Well, to be fair, God help us when that Pyra/Mithra figure comes out for Amiibo, because they'll make 5 of them and they'll go up on a pre-order on my Nintendo exclusive, and Europe will get 6 emails saying, sorry, we've had to delay. Europe can't count.
Meanwhile, America will just get an 8-hour queue.
Bro, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
God,
I think
Xeno
the
3
European
pre-orders
one takes the piss the most, though, because they're like, okay, only people that registered interest are even going to be able to pre-order. We're going to send you a link, and it's only people that can pre-order. At least give us a fucking day. Like, come the fuck on. Like, at
Yeah.
least go. It's going to be Thursday, October the, 6th. I was just look it up. October 6th. Be like, great, thank you. Now I'll just check all day on October 6th. Not coming very soon, and then 2 weeks later go, oh, we've had to push it to the first half of October, lads. Sorry about that. That happened, Hunter.
Jeez.
And they
That's
say that it's
ridiculous.
been pushed to the first half of October, the last day of September, so you don't know if that means that it could be still in the next couple of days, or if it's going to be a couple of weeks. Like, who knows?
It's
I
like being
don't-
told you're going to be punched in the face and you don't know where or when.
Yeah, that is what it's like. And the funny thing is it's like, it's for a piece of fucking cardboard and an art book. Like, genuinely, can someone just put the PDF on? Like, Australia's got theirs now. I just want to see the art.
The
I just wanna see the
PDF
art.
will end up online at some point.
I just want to see the art because I can't say why because of spoilers, but apparently someone suggested that there's some concept art of some spoilers, and I was like, I want to see that. Give
Charlie
me the concept art.
Ouroboros.
Yeah, Charlie
Finally.
Ouroboros. I'm like, I really need to see Charlie again.
Playable Charlie Ouroboros.
Exactly,
Could you
exactly.
imagine?
I can't believe that's the DLC.
Neither can I. Yeah.
Uh,
That's the only way I won't be disappointed is if it is a Charlie Ouroboros
true.
DLC. If it's a prequel, we cry. Anyway, I guess we're done. I've got nothing else to say. Hope you enjoyed this filler episode of the podcast. We're in that arc at the moment. Join us next week for Overwatch 2, or if that's tragic, more filler. Who knows? Probably both.
Maybe I'll play some horror games. It's October. Time to get
Oh
spooky.
yeah, it's spooky time as
Yeah.
we inevitably get closer and closer to the Halloween episode, which will be on Halloween. Oh, we've waited 3 years for this. We've done 2 Halloween episodes that weren't on Halloween.
I think
This
one of the
time-
Halloween episodes went up in November.
Yeah, it did. It came out on like November 2nd.
Oh, right.
And
because
last
it
year was
because,
November
like,
1st.
we recorded
yeah,
it
so we're
on
getting it.
Halloween, but
Yeah.
it came up the next
Yeah.
2 days.
The first year we recorded on Halloween. The second year we didn't record on Halloween and it came out on November 1st. So it was a lose-lose on last year.
Oof.
And I wasn't in costume because it didn't show up. And look at this year. It'll be Halloween.
Dude,
My costume
getting all
still
the
won't show
luck.
up.
we're getting all the
Yeah.
luck with the holidays this year because this was the same year that Valentine's Day was on the episode release day.
It's true. Unfortunately, Christmas will not be. Neither will New Year. As they're
Tragic.
both on Saturday and Sunday, respectively.
But you know, we
What's
got the
your
4th of
favorite
July.
Christmas day?
Oh no, that's great. We got Boxing Day. We can be like, hey guys,
Oh,
what
man,
did you get for
Boxing
Christmas?
Day.
What did you get for Christmas? Oh, I got nothing. That's great. Wow. I got an empty wallet. Woo!
Woo!
But no. Okay. I'm done. I'm done with the filler arc. Let's wrap it up. So as always, our links are on screen right now. There they are. You can go and follow us on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with everything we're doing. Outside the podcast, I'm not doing anything. I'm just biding my time. Waiting for
I'm
seeing
just
all-
existing.
Seeing all these Overwatch things and going, oh wow. Thanks for letting me pre-download it, Blizzard. Really appreciate it. So fucking stupid. Like, oh yeah, when this is out, Overwatch 1 will be dead. That's fun. Enjoy the one day where Overwatch is dead until it actually dies. That's gonna be crazy. That's fun. But you know, if you like living, that's cool too, I guess. You can go and follow us on Twitter at HotGamersOnly, where all the live people are at, or go to youtube.com/HotGamersOnly, see the video version. But if you don't want to look at our stupid face, you can head to the link tree in the description, or go to your favourite podcast service, search for Hot Gamers Only, where you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're on it. Go over there, give us a review, hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, dab on the haters, leave a comment saying, man, I love this incredible podcast. Thank you for bringing it to us every single week. Here's all my money. And then put your credit card information in the comment.
I'm like, how long is this bit gonna go for?
Don't know.
I'm impressed.
Or you could be like the guy in the comments of the last week's video who just pointed and laughed at Kyle because their PlayStation 4 did the Genshin area just fine.
Did someone do that? I haven't checked.
Yeah, they were like,
Yeah, they did.
I'm gonna go check that. Fuck that. When I did the podcast, I want to watch because I want to bully Kyle. Hang on. Let me look. Genshin Impact comments. Oh, this is gonna be funny. I don't see one from there. Where is? Oh, I haven't responded. Hunter's responded to it.
yeah, I gave it a.
I don't know. It just exploring Sumeru was pretty much the same as the other regions for me on PS4. Genshin on PS5 is just divine. Even if there are so many 3D objects, everything still seems so fast. You hear that, Kyle? Wow, it's
Yep.
the power of the SSD.
I hear it.
Yeah, shouts to you, Genshin fan, who has a Genshin character as their profile picture, because I can tell by the eyes.
Thank you, Genshin fan.
We appreciate you.
You specifically.
Also, shout outs to
Who
the
loves
person
that
that
guy?
disliked the Xenoblade spoiler cast because we were too positive. I feel like that's a really ironic thing, seeing what happened last time. Yeah.
Actually, that was just a response to the old video.
No, yeah, but someone's also disliked it, so we were too positive.
Oh boy.
And then we saw. Oh, did you see that comment? We just chat shit at the end. This is what we do when we're off. We just chat shit.
Oh
about
yeah,
the comment.
it's such a because there was a comment on the.
It's such a bad game. It was like, yeah.
I responded to that like on my own account. I was like, I'm sorry that happened to you.
I'm like, you did not need to grind at all in that game. What did you do wrong? Who hurt you? Like that game throws XP at you. And then it was just like the end. Dragon Quest is the supreme RPG. I see Square Enix entered the comment section real quick. It was like, hey guys, you played the hit fucking critically acclaimed game Dragon Quest 11S Echoes of an Elusive Age.
It's a great video game.
It is a good video game. Just our comments are funny. If you want to leave us a funny comment, please do it. It's very funny. But anyway, with that little bit of teasing, don't play Dragon Quest.
Or don't play Dragon Quest. It's your life.
It's your life.
It's on the Stadia if you want to get Stadia. Dragon Quest 11.
If you want to spend your last 4 months of Stadia on there, it's not even 4, it's 2. If you want to spend your last 2.5 months,
you get a month free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could
First month free. You
hypothetically buy it and play it and then get refunded for it.
Oh, true.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. Think about that.
Stonks.
Do that. I'm sure you'll have a great time. But with that great piece of advice, we leave you for more fun, same time, same place next week, I guess. But until then, have an awesome week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.
Toodaloo.